Yeah, so I mean, firstly, Joby, it's a pleasure to speak with you once more. I just wanted to know how things have been like with you and with Leighton Orient and the club, the communication you've been having with the administrators, the players, especially during this period of time, you've been able to get across the messages that you may want for the players to stay fit and sharp.
Yeah, for sure. It's been quite a difficult period for us because up until today, actually, funny enough, we've been kind of waiting on a decision, to really be made finally. And I think now that's come, it's very important to have that bit of clarity. And obviously, from our point of view, it looks like the league's going to be finished. Obviously, up till this point, the club's been fantastic in terms of giving us the information that they can. Of course, they're relying on other people to give them a little bit more insight into what's going on. But the communication lines from, the owners, Nigel Travis, the chairman, Kent Teague, who's the majority owner, through to the management staff, has been very good, which has obviously enabled me to pass that on to the lads, really. So, yeah, man, we're fortunate here. I know that a lot of players at a lot of other clubs, particularly at my level and League One, haven't had the same amount of communication. So we've been fortunate here, really.
Yeah, and what's the mood like, not only for you, for the players as well? They're looking forward to the return of the league, or would they have preferred, to just start afresh in August, September?
No, listen, man, I think you ask any footballer that, loves the game as much as certainly I do, and I know that the other lads do, we would have liked to have finished the season. I think from certainly my point of view, it was always to do it at a stage where it was safe and the players were going to be safe. I think you've been able to see from the Premier League testing and the Championship testing, the real low and sometimes zero number of cases, which has obviously shown that with those measures put in place, you can create a safe environment. The questions were obviously whether we would be able to do that from a financial and logistical point of view at our level. And I think that was the biggest challenge, really. But listen, if you're going to put us in the same environment as the Premier League boys and Championship boys, then of course I would have loved to have seen the season finish. Everyone's got things to play for, and ultimately you want them decided on the pitch, not, by points per game. But again, that decision's been made now, and we're hoping by making that decision, it gives us some idea of, again, when that next season's going to be starting, because that's important for the lads to know a date to work towards.
Absolutely. You joined Leighton Orient in 2017 and you've made that transition from player to player coach as well, being first team coach. How has that transition been like from you, from playing to being part of the coaching staff? Has it been a different sort of mindset from you, perhaps?
Yeah, definitely. It's been, a really important year for me in terms of my development on the coaching side. Of course, as a senior player, you're always involved in discussions and conversations around the team, and certainly as captain, again, you're kind of privy to that information that a lot of the other lads won't be. But when you're actually a coach, when you're actually part of the first team setup, and you're as responsible as anyone else in terms of, again, picking teams, formations, decisions in the match, whether it be substitutions, all these factors are things that I've really been able to get into this year. And of course, with the injury side of things, which has been disappointing from my point of view, that's something that really gave me a focus to work towards, and it's been invaluable. I've really learned a lot this year, and again, that time on the training ground as well, and actually doing the coaching that I really, really enjoy. So it's certainly given me something else to really look at in terms of the future, and something that I really, really enjoyed so far, and would certainly like to carry it on.
Yeah, when you took on the opportunity of being a player coach, a lot of Jamaicans were quite excited of this prospect, especially seeing what has been happening in England as well. Darren Moore, his opportunity at Doncaster, Dion Burton at West Brom, Kevin Lisby, in and around Leighton Orient, Michael Johnson and Jason Ewell in the England youth setup. So it's great to see a lot of Jamaican former national players getting opportunities in the English game. And as you know, it's not many get that sort of privilege or chance, especially in the professional ranks.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's, again, for me, I've been fortunate that, I've been given this opportunity, and it's something that I'm really going to try and make the most of. It's obviously a club that, I've got a great feeling towards, and I'd like to think on a lot of people the feelings mutual. We've had some good times the last few years, and I think that has obviously helped in this part of my development. As you've touched on, it's not always easy for any coaches, particularly black coaches, to get opportunities in English football. So from that point of view, again, I've had years now, in and around the first team as assistant coach or assistant manager, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, that's been a big plus for me. And again, it's great to see other players getting those opportunities, because there's a lot of us out there that do want to work. There's a lot of talk about why the opportunities aren't afforded to black players. And at the end of the day, there's a lot of good coaches out there working hard, doing the hours that they need. They've got the qualifications. They just want an opportunity. Once we get it, it's up to us to go and prove that, we're good enough to do the job, really. And that's all we're asking.
Have you told yourself or said you would want to play one more season or two more seasons before concentrating solely on coaching or management? Have you set that in your mind as yet?
I haven't really put a specific time on it. Again, it was difficult from a playing point of view last year, just when I had, one injury that we didn't get to the bottom of it, which basically led to me having an extended period of time out and trying to rehab, but ultimately we weren't getting the right situation sorted. Once I actually had that done, and it was quite a major operation, so that was kind of like November time, which would, again, we knew would put me out for 3-4 months. So it was really a race against time for me to get back fit. Once I got back, I knew I'd have sort of 10, 11 games to really see where I was at, and I could make a real decision based on that. But unfortunately, the last game I had was the one before everything got called off. But I felt good. I'd been back training sort of 6 weeks. I felt like I could still influence a group. I certainly still feel I'm capable to perform at that level. And I wouldn't want to carry on if I wasn't. The career that I've been lucky to have, I certainly wouldn't want to be around League Two, with the greatest respect, just making up the numbers. So again, we're discussing how things are going to be moving forward. I'd love to keep playing, but when you're 38, it's not always your choice, Simon. So again, we're in dialogue. The coaching aspect certainly something I want to continue doing. So hopefully, we can work something out that might enable me to do a bit of both, and carry on something that again I love doing. But listen, if the time's to finish and really concentrate on something else, that's cool for me as well. I've been lucky to go this long. I still feel I've got something to offer, but a lot of the time it's not necessarily down to you. So we'll see how it goes.
Would you say people like Ross and before him Justin were big influences on you in learning the game from a different perspective in the coaching aspect?
Yeah, listen, I think you always take the positives from people that you meet, and people that you come across in the game. Obviously, two completely different characters, different approaches to the game, different way about them around the training ground and on a match day. Justin was obviously what I'd call a real man manager in terms of getting the best out of players. He knew what it took to win football matches, and he was prepared to make sure the lads did whatever that was to get the results that we needed. And as well as being a top manager, he was just a real good guy, a top man. Again, all the best ones I've played with, you have to get on with them. I'm not saying they've got to be your best friends, but you do want a good relationship. And like when you're going out on that pitch, you're fighting with, your teammates, you're fighting for your team or for your country, but you also want to be out there fighting for your manager. And we certainly had that with Justin. Ross, again, he's similar to me in some respects, that I'm learning the coaching game. He's learning the management game. He's a very, very experienced coach. Vastly experienced. Go out, he's got sessions left, right and centre. So that, from a learning point of view for me, has been fantastic to just tap into that experience. Get a real behind the scenes look in terms of, planning the sessions, what they look like, what the purpose of them is, how many numbers you've got. I mean, these are the things that change. They can change, especially in first team football. You've got 20 players, then you turn up the next day and all of a sudden you've got 17. But you might play a match on a Tuesday night and you're training on a Wednesday, so then you've only got 9. So again, that's been a real eye-opener for me, and I've certainly learned a lot having Ross there, and the fact that I am inexperienced from a coaching point of view, it's been great to have someone that I know on a personal level, because again, I'm learning and I know I'm learning. So to have someone to lean on and, ask questions, which is the most important thing for me when you are, again, at that learning stage and trying to be better, you got to be comfortable, asking for advice, and he's very happy to give it. So yeah, I've certainly benefited from being around those guys the last, few years.
A couple of years ago, many were wondering if you're going to go over to America to sign a contract with a team there. Would you say the player coaching role was more enticing than heading over to America? Because a lot of Jamaicans were saying, wow, Jobi is going to be closer to home. We can fly on a plane and we can go see him play. We're just wondering during that time, what was the main linchpin for that decision to remain in England?
Yeah, listen, I was close, man, a couple of times actually before I signed for Orient the first time. I was over in DC, and obviously very close to signing for DC United. It was something that I really wanted to do from that point of view. I was very much open to doing it. Things had gone a little bit cold here, after I left Reading, and I was a little bit frustrated, I suppose, with how things were going on this side. I'd obviously had a wicked experience, playing for Jamaica and seeing football in the States, and the facilities and the infrastructure, was something that I really wanted to do. But I had a good opportunity to come to Orient the first time around. And obviously, before I signed for Stevenage, which was a couple of years after that, again, after some real good times with the national team, I had an opportunity to go and train over at Minnesota, who at the time were not in the MLS, but they were obviously going over. But at that time, again, it would have been, from what they were offering in terms of a contract time, it was only 6 months leading up to the MLS and then nothing beyond that. So it was just too short a time frame for me to commit, given my family circumstances, at that stage. So I decided to obviously to stay here and, just see what opportunities were here. And, it's worked out well. Again, it's something I would have loved to have done at some point of my career. But again, these things happen where, you could make a decision and it goes one way, and then for whatever reason you don't, and it never happens. So, again, it's certainly an area that I enjoyed working, and, would love to probably be over that side of the world again one day soon.
Yeah, you never know what the future holds, so we'll definitely see where that is concerned. Speaking about the playing days, I remember the day vividly in 2002 when you walk on the pitch at Loftus Road against Nigeria. During that time, going 10 years without another cap, was it frustration for you? Was it, I'm just going to continue grafting, and when the opportunity comes, it comes? Because clearly you had some splendid performances at Cardiff and eventually Reading, and the opportunity came at the Azteca.
Yeah, listen, it was quite a strange period of time, I suppose. Obviously, from making my debut, which was wicked, it's still one of my career highlights. Obviously, the energy, the noise, particularly against Nigeria, where you got both sets of fans who, you've got that rivalry, Caribbean versus Africa, the energy in the stadium from all the fans, especially being in London as well, where obviously from where I'm from. So I know the vibe, I know the energy, and running out there was wicked. It was a great experience, and certainly one that I wanted to revisit again at some stage. It was just a matter of when that time would come. So I can't say it was just solely down to whether the JFF were picking me or not. I was also focusing on trying to forge my career in the UK, which was obviously very, very important. At that stage, I was only 21, I think, maybe something like that when I made my debut. Might even have been younger, actually, 19, 20 when I made my debut. So clearly for me, I had to go and establish myself here. And yeah, again, it's one of them things that just at various times during that period, things just didn't quite marry up, whether it was the selection, anything like that. So it was, again, something I knew I really wanted to do again. It was just finding the right time to do it. I'm disappointed it took as long as it did, particularly because how much I enjoyed it, when I did join back up You know, it was some of the best times of my career, you know, that period of time. You know, I look forward to every single trip. You know, it's a fantastic group of players, you know, coaching staff, support staff during that time. And it was a real special time. You know, every time we linked up, amazing memories, amazing matches. You know, it was just an incredible time for me. So yeah, going back again, first match being such a big one. You don't get much bigger really against Mexico in the Azteca. Literally a couple of days to prepare, which is just the Jamaican way, I suppose, in terms of, you know, we get called up. We flew out on a Monday, I think. The game was on a Wednesday.
That's right.
So we had literally acclimatized. I think we had one training session. Obviously, you had the altitude. It was crazy. It was just like everything was stacked against us. You know, you're getting to know your teammates, getting to know the coach, how we're going to play. And I'll be honest, we went into the game a little bit feeling a bit underprepared, especially for a game of that magnitude. But again, just how it was when we were together, things just clicked. Like we had a vibe around the team, around the squad that, you know, it was just such a good balance to everything. And it just seemed as though we were meant to be together as a group. And even with a day's notice or a day's training, and very little preparation, we went out and put out, you know, for me, one of our best performances, you know, when I was playing for Jamaica. And I'm really disappointed that we didn't win. I missed a very good opportunity. We had some other good chances that, you know, although it was a great result, you know, I think if we'd won the game, that could have really given us a massive springboard in that campaign to try and get up and you know, get ourselves through the hex. But listen, a great experience and one I'm very, very proud of.
Yeah, well, you know, since that moment, you've been spoiled for memories from 2013 to 2016. We could go on and on where that was concerned. The qualifying, like the Mexico game, like you said, scoring in the penalty shootouts against our biggest Caribbean rivals, Trinidad, and for you to you know, to jeer at the crowd, you know, it meant a lot in Montego Bay. The Gold Cup, the Copa America. Which memory you would say stands out to you the most?
Wow, that is a tough one. And like you said, I've been very, very lucky.
Quite a bit to reflect on.
I've got a few, man. I think that Azteca certainly has got to be up there for me. Just going into such a historical stadium as such big underdogs. And obviously our record against Mexico is not good. So again, that was a positive result. You know, certainly winning the Caribbean Cup again, you know, in the conditions, it was a hard schedule, man. It was like games every 2-3 days, you know, literally play, recover, you know, go again, play, recover, go. And yeah, that was, I think for me, you know, a massive tournament in terms of, you know, getting people on board to what we wanted to do, where we felt we could go with the group that we had. And again, as you say, winning any trophy is important, but particularly, you know, I know how big it is for us to say we're the best team in the Caribbean, and you know, particularly beating Trinidad, who had a very good team as well at the time. You know, let's not forget, you know, likes of Kenwyn Jones and Andre Boucard and no, he's sorry. To do that again.
That's all right. Yeah, that's his name. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, like in terms of you know, in terms of one-off results, I suppose, or achievements, and certainly you know, winning the Caribbean Cup's a big one for me. Again, the Gold Cup, Copa America, the first time around. That whole summer was the best summer of my life in terms of, certainly from a football point of view, or the first, you know, real period of time that everything was just wicked. Again, like going to the Copa, you know, first and experiencing, you know, the games that we did, again, how we performed, disappointed again that we didn't get a result that I felt the performances warranted in those circumstances, but it really gave us a platform to go on and, you know, do what we did in the Gold Cup, you know, following that. And, you know, it gave the squad a chance to gel, get to know each other, work together and develop a way of playing. And, of course, that run to the final was amazing, man. Again, it just, things clicked, man. The results came. massive results. Beating the States in the States was again up there as in terms of one-off games is one of my career highlights. The boys were pumped, man. Like, I get the vibe for them when they want to play against America, and again, being underdogs when you look at resources and the number of people in their country. There's no way really, if you look at it subjectively, America should be losing to Jamaica, but that's the beauty of what we've got. We've got the talent, we've got the ability. It's just bringing it all together. And when we do, we can beat anyone in that region. I'm sure of it.
Absolutely.
So it's just, getting everything to click and everything to gel. And again, that happened throughout that tournament before, unfortunately, losing to Mexico in the final. But, the places we played, the amount of fans we played in front of, and being that team, the first team to reach the final was, real amazing achievement. And again, one that I'm, so proud to have been a part of, man.
Do you think it helped as well that a lot of the players we had in the squad you either played with or played against in England? Mariappa from Watford days, Doyley, etc., Michael Hector, Cummings, John Cummings, and others. Being around those players that you once grew up with or played against in the English leagues.
Yeah, I think there was a familiarity, of course, between a few of us. I mean, at one point, I think there was 4 of us that went from Reading: myself, Max, Sean Cummings, and Gareth.
Yeah.
So, we had that understanding of each other's games for sure. But for me, the biggest thing was the connection throughout the squad. And, we'd always obviously travel with 6, 7 of us, maybe from the UK. But it wasn't a matter of us get there from the UK and then we keep ourselves to ourselves. And, the guys from the Mcanuff keep themselves to themselves. The guys that are playing back home, like, everybody gelled, man. Everybody mixed. And I think we made that clear when we first started going back, that listen, this ain't about one man coming back from the Premier League, or that it was irrelevant. It was a team structure. Wherever we were from, whatever club, whatever level we played at, we were all one. And I think that was the reason for our success during that period of time. And again, you had players that were playing in the Premier League that could not wait to get on a plane and go and play in Kingston or Costa Rica or Central America, wherever it was in the world. We really always look forward to that link up and going away and coming home. And, they were just, again, fantastic times, man. And, we, of course, brought our side of things to the table, but that wouldn't have been possible without the effect of everybody else in the squad. And I think we just, again, I talk about that blend, and it's funny because you got only look through history and what Jamaica is and the amount of people, Jamaicans that are around the world. To me, that is Jamaica. It's people coming from everywhere. We're all Jamaican, whether we're born in the UK, whether we're born in the States, whether
Agreed.
you play in Jamaica, whether you play in the States. Again, we all have that connection with our country, and we were very, very proud, and I'm hoping that, really showed in the performances, whenever we put that jersey on.
Yeah, and one of the last caps that you had in 2016 against Chile, perhaps one of the highlights of that calendar year as a whole. Many people may say it's just a friendly, but there's no friendlies in football, is there? A team ranked 55th in the world beating number 3.
Yeah, man, but again, that was... Honestly, that was so similar to the Mexico game, where I think, again, we probably got there a couple of days before the game. Real little preparation, playing against one of the best teams in South America. I think at the time they might have been the champions of the Copa America from the year we went. And yeah, to beat them, to beat any team that's ranked 3 in the world is an incredible achievement, particularly away from home. And it's not as if they brought a team that wasn't strong. You had the likes of Alexis playing. So, I think from our point of view, it was a great night. It's kind of one of those results for me that, as much as I'm happy about, it gives me frustration, because I do feel there is a real massive potential with Jamaican football that we just haven't quite got to the bottom of yet, and really developed it on a consistent basis. Those performances, those results show us what we're capable of on a one-off. But for me, it's more about doing it on a much more regular basis that is then going to ensure World Cup qualification, not just once, but every time we go into a qualifying campaign, and I think for me, again, as much as I come out of that experience with great memories, great times, I came out of it frustrated. Our goal was to reach a World Cup and we didn't do it. Our goal was to win a Gold Cup and we didn't do it. So as much as we are proud of what we did, in my opinion, we could have done better and we should be doing better. And I think we've got to keep striving and keep working towards that because we're good enough. Those results have shown it. Performances have shown it. And we need to just, again, keep coming together and really building because we've got something special here, man. I've seen enough to know that.
And some of the players that are in the squad now, you played with as well, Mariappa, Hector, etc. You're confident in the current crop of players that we have that we can go together and, continue to make waves internationally, not one-off, but on a consistent basis.
Yeah, definitely. I know that, with obviously the World Cup qualifiers coming up, it's, going to be important times and there's going to be some important decisions. Again, I think it's very important to get a consistent squad. That is one thing that we had during that 3-4 years that we were together. Overall, the squad was very consistent. So every time we came together, it wasn't a matter of meeting new people again, getting to know new people, getting to know new game plans and ways of doing things. Because, you're going to get injuries every now and again that might disrupt the squad slightly. But for me, you've got to have that consistency. So it's very important now that we start really dialing down into that squad, identifying the players that are going to be the ones, to take us forward and try and give them the best chance possible. And that is by having the guys together as much as they can, training camps, qualifying games, whatever it is. But yeah, certainly, listen, the talent pool that we have got, whether it be in Jamaica, whether it be players playing away from there in the MLS, whether it be Jamaican players that happen to be born elsewhere, we have a great talent pool and we need to tap into that, get everyone working on the same page. And for me, success will follow. It's as simple as that.
Well said, Jobi. I was talking to Maps recently and he was saying that he envisions a day where you and him line up on the bench coaching the national team. Is that a goal that you have as well? Coaching Jamaica?
Yeah, man, for sure. Obviously, I say that with the greatest respect, certainly to Tapa and everyone else that's working there at the moment, a man who gave me that opportunity, to come back. And for that, I'll be forever grateful. And, it's something I certainly would love to get back involved with, whether it be initially, combining bits and bobs that I'm doing here, or maybe on a more full-time basis whenever that situation presents itself. But yeah, man, listen, it's something that I've always wanted to do as much as I wanted to play for Jamaica, and I managed to do that.
Yeah.
I would love the opportunity just to be involved in any level, whether it's, assisting people, whether it's doing a little bit of coaching, obviously ultimately at one point in the future, maybe leading to, coaching the national team. That would be certainly a dream, as much of a dream as it was to play for Jamaica. And again, I really think we can make a big success of it. Again, if you tap into everything that we've got as a country, our experience, our natural ability, now more with the coaching experience, you've got people that have gone abroad now, they're getting experience in coaching, but you have to have that finger on the pulse of what's going on in Jamaica. Again, what is going on in different parts of the world where these players are playing, and bring that together. That's the real, the ambition, would be for me is just getting everything aligned together and using all the positive aspects that we've got to create this, team that I think is going to be capable of doing amazing things.
And finally, Jobi, have you had a chance to whisper in the ears of Lawrence, the goalkeeper at Leighton, about Jamaica? Because we know his heart may be elsewhere, Chile.
Yeah, he's. It's funny because we've spoken about it. He was obviously involved on a few occasions for Chile, and obviously us going out there. I put a post up recently about that result actually, and he messaged me asking what actually happened in the Copa America. So I said, listen, man, let us have our one day of glory, man. You know what I mean? You can't begrudge that. But yeah, listen, he's a real good goalkeeper. Good goalkeeper. He's impressed me since he's come to the club. Yeah, man, I'm constantly onto it, man. Always.
Keep it up, big boss. Really appreciate it. And, keep up the good work that you've been doing. And, Jamaica is really, proud of the progress that you've been making. And just finally, from my end, how did you get the nickname Joe? Because I've never heard anyone call you Joel Joshua before in my life.
It's my dad, man. Like, again, when I was younger, he just come up with the nickname Jobi. It's like, obviously with Jamaicans, there's a lot of the end word is with that sound of name, really. I don't see too many Jamaicans running around getting called Joel either, man.
That's true.
Yeah, I think you had to just make it sound a little bit sweeter. So it stuck with me, man. It's funny because people didn't actually know my name was Joel, even at Wimbledon when I was in the youth team. I remember we went away for a pre-season tour. So I'd been there since 12. So now I must be, 19, going away on my first pre-season tour with the first team. Went to check in at the airport, and anything on my documentation from the club's point of view was Jobi. Mm-hmm. So the ticket was in Jobi Mcanuff. Right. But obviously on my passport was Joel. Right. So there's a big hoo-ha. And they said, hang on a minute, your name's not Jobi. And I said, no, it's Joel. So it's funny, there's a lot of people that don't know. But again, it's quite a unique name, man. So I like it. I suppose if you say Jobi, you kind of know who you're talking about. So that'll work for me, man. So
yeah, that's nice. I appreciate your time, boss. Really appreciate it. And
pleasure.
We'll be in touch like always. Stay safe, you and the family, and hopefully one day one of your sons or both can represent Jamaica.
Yeah, one's definitely on the way, mate. Trust me. The other one I'm not too sure about, but definitely one of them. He's always got me putting my Jamaica top on, man, in the garden. Nice. And he loves it. He loves it. So, yeah, man, we're going to make sure he's ready when the time comes, man, to get out there and play for the Reggae Boys. That's for sure.
Fantastic. All right, my boss. Take care.
All right, Simon. Nice one, man. Take care.
Nice one. Yeah, man. All right, cool.